This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Netflix. Coming up on Destructoid, Dragon Age Inquisition has our full undivided attention. The creator of Mega Man is raking in all of our Kickstarter dollars, and the Xbox One still has no release date. What the hell? All that and more right now on Destructoid.
Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday, Tara. How was your Labor Day weekend? Did you enjoy a nice
excellent.
3 days off?
I did. We were in Seattle for
Yes.
PAX, as you probably know. It was actually really enjoyable this year. I mean, it always is, but we saw lots of good stuff.
We could see them for once instead of just
it's
staring
true.
into this void.
So we actually met a lot of you who came up and said that you loved the show, so we love
Thank you for that.
back.
That's like the best. PAX is the best thing. I love it because it's right before the big, crazy, hectic review season when, of course, everyone gets mad at us for saying that the game that they wanted to like isn't as great as we thought it was going to be. But it's like we get to meet people. PAX is the opposite of YouTube commenters. It's you get to meet human beings, and you're like, hello, living person. And they're like,
living,
hello.
breathing human.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's also, a big thing for games. We saw a lot of games. Probably one of my top 3 from PAX this year was Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a series that I've never really cared that much about. I always sort of just considered it to be like medieval, the fantasy game. Exactly. But Inquisition changes a lot about the series, and those changes have actually made me more interested in this game than I previously thought possible. So we already know it's going to be bigger and more open than any of the previous Dragon Age games, but the level of detail that's afforded by it being on Frostbite 3 is actually really quite incredible. They had a demo for us there, and there was a part where your character steps in some mud, and not only does he sort of slow down, because of the resistance, you can see the mud start to form on his boots and then disappear as he gets out of it. It's really interesting. Frostbite 3 also allows for way more destruction in the environments, which you can actually use to your advantage during combat by, for example, destroying a bridge that has a bunch of enemies perched on it so they fall to their deaths. The combat definitely seems more strategic and I want to say more deliberate than before. They've brought back the tactical view, which lets you pause the action while you sort of decide how you want to approach a group of enemies. You'll also once again be able to switch between companions at any time during combat, and you'll also be able to have full customization of all of their weapons and armor. It's also worth noting that the regenerative health system has changed a little bit. So now if your player gets injured, you will only be able to regenerate your health back up to a certain threshold. It's not full health regen, so you won't have to sit there for 3 minutes doing nothing, waiting for your health to go back up. The Dragon Age series now has always been about player choice, and again, Inquisition seems to take this a little bit to the extreme, so the decisions that you make in the game are going to have way more meaningful consequences than they did before. It's kind of a hard process to explain, but if you want to read more about the changes that they've made, Casey Baker has a preview up on Destructoid.com along with some new screenshots that show off the different environments. I really like that desert one.
Desert was neat.
Yeah, you could see sort of the dust storm sweeping through and then the dragons.
Is definitely a game that I went into being like, oh boy, Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I walked out and I was like, oh boy,
Same
Dragon
here.
Age. Like,
I was so surprised.
yeah, so that looks cool. Keep an eye on that one. PAX. Gearbox is one studio that definitely love to show some love to their fans, and their PAX panel usually involves something big happening, whether it's an announcement of some sort or a free copy of Borderlands 2 for everyone who attended. That was a couple years ago. That was really nice of them. This year, a couple of pieces of news popped up. You might recall a while back, Gearbox purchased the rights to the Homeworld IP following the closure of THQ, and they've already announced that they're going to be doing HD remakes of Homeworld 1 and 2 that aren't going to be messing with anything aside from just making it prettier because they're just fans of the series. And it looks like that's not all that's in the works. Hardware Shipbreakers is an RTS that's being developed by a bunch of former Homeworld developers, and it's actually now been rebranded as Homeworld Shipbreakers. The studio behind Shipbreakers, Blackbird Interactive, will partner with Gearbox, who will provide millions of dollars of resources. And the head Gearbox guys I know are just really huge fans of the Homeworld series, which is why they bought the rights to it in the first place. And it's kind of cool to see them being like, hey, you guys over there who are making kind of an ersatz Homeworld because you don't have the rights. Come with us. We have the rights. You can use them. There are no details right now on platforms or release date for Homeworld Shipbreakers, but we can expect the HD versions of Homeworld 1 and 2 in the first half of 2014. In addition to Homeworld and the inevitable slew of Borderlands DLC announcements, Gearbox also let slip that they're working on not one, but 2 new intellectual properties, and that anyone who picks up the Gearbox Community Day 2013 Digital Access Pack will get invited to the beta for one of these mysterious new projects, as well as Homeworld 1 Classic and HD. So It's kind of cool that they're like, hey, you guys made the time to come to this thing physically. You physically put yourself in this place. Here's something to make it worthwhile.
Yeah. I love Gearbox.
And people came to our panel. I threw bouncy balls and small plastic babies at them.
That's true. He impregnated everyone at our panel.
Mm-hmm.
But more on that later. For now, Microsoft is trickling out yet more information about the Xbox One. This week, they put up a product page with some new details on the controller, which I know a lot of people are really excited about. Most of the information we already knew, like the improved D-pad and the new impulse triggers. But one tidbit that's a surprise is the fact that the Xbox One is going to support up to 8 wireless controllers, which is twice as many as the 360 and one more than the PS3, which supports 7. Sony hasn't announced how many controllers the PS4 is going to support yet, but my guess is that anything beyond 8 probably has pretty diminishing returns, you think, right?
Yeah, how do you fit more than 8 people in front of a TV?
Exactly. Even Joust is pretty difficult to manage with more than 6 or 7 people, and I can really only think of a handful of other games where you'd actually want more than like 4 people playing at a time. Then again, we live in San Francisco where it's impossible to fit more than 4 people in your home, so we're probably not the best ones to judge. Anyway, another change that's gone even further under the radar is the Xbox Live Marketplace, which has now been officially renamed to the Xbox Games Store. As you might imagine, this change has no effect whatsoever on anyone. It's just one of the first steps in Microsoft's transition to the Xbox One, which, by the way, still has no release date, despite the fact that it's launching in 2 months. So
that sucks. I feel bad for people who are like, they want to take off time from work and plan ahead for, not going to work and playing games instead. Anyway, so as far as fan bases go, I would say that Mega Man fans have definitely stood up to a fair amount of mistreatment and neglect when it comes to their games featuring their beloved Blue Bomber, and Capcom seems fairly unsure of what the hell to do with the property. Now, something happened, and Mega Man fans were given something to actually be happy about last week when Keiji Inafune, the series creator, launched a Kickstarter for his brand new game, Mighty Number 9.
Oh dear.
This is with the help of his studio Concept USA and a bunch of veteran Mega Man devs. And here's the pitch. See if this sounds familiar. Mighty Number 9 is a 2D platformer that follows a blue robot boy named Beck, who is the 9th in a series of robots. And after his 8 predecessors become infected with a virus and turn evil, Beck is forced to take them down with the help of his female friend by, running through levels and shooting little robots and stuff, and then presumably fighting the 8 guys at the end. It's Mega Man. It's pretty much just Mega Man. They just changed some of the names and stuff, and then they updated the graphics so it actually looks pretty. The goal to produce Mighty Number 9 was $900,000 on Kickstarter, which is quite a hefty sum, and the project was fully funded in a little over 24 hours.
Jesus.
Yeah, as of writing this episode, it is well over $1.3 million and chugging along steadily. I looked it up to check where it was at, and it was like, it was changing before my very eyes, which is always pretty exciting.
Yeah.
The baseline goal was to release Mighty Number 9 for PC on Steam with gamepad support, with stretch goals to bring it to Mac, Linux, and consoles. And at the rate things are going, I would say that it's pretty likely we're going to see this on all the platforms that they are, saying they'll bring it to.
Jeez.
Now it'll be interesting to see how Capcom reacts to this. Are they going to pull a Gearbox and reach out to Inafune and offer him, offer to make an honest Mega Man out of his Mighty Number 9? Would he want that? I mean, it's kind of.
It's pretty shamelessly similar. I mean, I feel like
it's his baby. He can do it.
Exactly, and I feel like the whole point of this is to sort of guarantee that by making a Mighty Man game or whatever, that people are gonna buy it because Kickstarter is a great way to ensure that your game is gonna make money because it makes money before you even make it. So this is definitely like. It sort of protects them against a lot of risk, I think.
Yeah.
And clearly people want to see it.
It's a sort of pay what you want pre-order system. I mean, maybe that's not the best way to approach it, but it's cool to see this happening. It's also basically like, hey, Capcom, there's a demand for this kind of stuff. Maybe if you don't make a Facebook Mega Man game, anyway.
This is definitely a strange story. One of the stranger news pieces, I think, to come out of PAX.
Speaking about that money, Tara.
Yes, we're going to
thank
thank our sponsor, and then we'll be back with more news. So if you guys spend a lot of time watching television and you don't have Netflix, then my friend, you are doing it wrong. All kinds of wrong. Because Netflix makes it so easy to stream your favorite shows and movies right to your home. All you need is an internet connection and any Netflix-enabled device like a PC or Mac, a smartphone, any current-gen video game console. The list is plentiful. So for a limited time, visit netflix.com/Destructoid and we will hook you up with a free trial membership. And of course, remember Netflix is also available overseas, so this deal isn't just for you viewers in the US. You can still get in on it just by visiting netflix.com/Destructoid. And if you are outside of the US, it should still redirect for your home country.
Wonderful. Back to the show. So everyone I've talked about it on the gaming press side of things is pretty much in the dark about when we finally get our cool early copies to Grand Theft Auto 5. We don't know these things. The whole reason I got this dumb job is so I could play Grand Theft Auto before the 14-year-olds, and then I could gloat. I honestly can't remember the last time I was so desperate to get my hands on a game. Actually, no, it was Skyrim.
Yeah.
And then I got that early. And I took a picture of it sitting on my coffee table, and I was like, suck it, Reddit! And then it got upvoted. And people got mad at me.
Oh, I remember that.
Anyway, if you are like me and you are breathing heavily and twitching and scratching yourself while gazing longingly at fairly mundane GTA 5 screenshots, then you will probably enjoy this final big old launch trailer, which I'm guessing it's the big final last push, which just shows off how incredibly cinematic the game is. And we get to see some cool things like jets and big old armor and a minigun, and it's all very exciting. And I just want to play the damn game.
2 weeks.
Rockstar, can I have your game, please?
Can we both, please?
Anyway,
eventually it'll come in. So amongst the bevy of big announcements this week, Destructoid actually made one of their own when they revealed their new huge membership program. You might have remembered reading an article on Forbes.com recently from Destructoid's founder, Nero Gonzalez, on the topic of ad block and how nearly half of Destructoid's readers use it, which of course significantly impacts the site's ability to make money despite the fact that they put out great content. So Huge is basically their response to that. And what this does is it offers access to tons of additional content on all 4 websites in the Modern Method network. That includes Destructoid, Flixist, Tomopop, and Japanator. And it offers you a completely ad-free experience for $2.99 a month or $29.99 a year. And there's some other stuff in there, and I'll get into that. It's important to note that anybody who reads Destructoid.com now or any one of these sites is still going to have access to all of the same content that they do now. This membership only provides extra stuff on top of what's already there to the people who decide to directly support the site. And this, well, some of the perks include things like, again, an ad-free experience, which leads to other wonderful perks like faster page loading.
Perks?
Perks, sorry, I can't talk today.
Porks?
Free pork, everyone. You're also automatically entered into all of the contests across all 4 sites. You get 25% off all Detoid merchandise. You get early access to video games. You get direct access to editors in some of the new shows that they're going to be starting. And my favorite part, there is a stealth browsing mode, so you can actually fool your boss into thinking that you're working while you're reading Destructoid.
I love that.
Awesome.
It's a little panic button that makes it look like you're looking at Gmail,
yeah,
when really you're reading about game news.
And better than any of those things that I just listed is the fact that they are donating 3% of all the profits to charity, which is great.
And it's actually a pretty cool charity. It's going towards, I think, a scholarship program for people going into game design.
That's
so
cool.
It's basically like, sorry, we gave this game a 2 out of 10. We're gonna put it back, and these kids can go make good games.
So if you want to be a game journalist, you can go help yourself. If this sounds like something you're interested in and you want to support the site, you can visit destructoid.com/membership_signup.phtml for more info.
There's just links all over the site too. And if you guys haven't checked out our PAX coverage, we didn't really do anything for Detoid, but we've got a ton of stuff going up over on youtube.com/rev3games. We shot way more videos than we've had time to edit, so those will be gradually going up over the next couple of weeks. And that includes our panel, which I know a lot of you guys came to, and we had a blast doing it, so that'll be up, and it'll be all kinds of fun. We also launched the Rev3 Games store. I'm sorry, we're shilling so many things. We launched the Rev3 Games store this weekend. That's rev3games.com/store, and you can buy not 1, but 2 different shirts with Adam Sessler's face on them, as well as one that's just a picture of a pair of pants. And I designed all of these using computers.
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna be back here on Friday for another live show. That's youtube.com/detoid at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. And as always, you can keep up to date with our antics on Twitter. I'm Max Scoville, she's Tara Longest, and the show is Detoid Show. Before we go, we have a very big thing to mention.
Yes, one last announcement to make, and it's kind of a big one.
Yeah.
After 3 years and more wonderful memories than we can count, next Friday, the 13th, is going to mark the final episode of the Destructoid show. Both Revision 3, who produces the show, and Destructoid have mutually decided that it's time. Of course, Detoid has been putting up a ton of awesome new shows on this channel that you're watching right now. And on our side of things, you know, we've become increasingly busy with our work over on Rev3 Games, and it's really getting out there. So it sort of makes sense for both parties to do this. We've had a great time doing the show. I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world. And of course, we're still going to be making appearances here and there. So this won't be the last of us, but next Friday will be the last show.
Yeah.
So we are going to go out with a bang. We're going to be doing an hour-long live show, and we're going to have a bunch of special guests on, and we're going to have a very special look back at a lot of our favorite moments, and I know there's a lot. So we would love it if you joined us for that. Like he said, that's going to be happening next Friday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, and we're going to be still be having a regular live show this Friday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time.
And we'll be back next Tuesday, but we're kind of winding down. I just want to point out this is totally amiable. There's no bad blood. Everyone's like cool with each other. It's just
it's time.
We decided we should just be friends.
Yeah.
But no, I mean I love Destructoid. It's been such a wonderful thing, but we're going different directions right now.
Yeah, you know, I owe Destructoid my career in the gaming industry.
Pretty much.
So I will never be able to truly thank them for what they've done for me.
You sure can, Tara.
Yeah.
You just need to give them a child. Just give them one child.
I don't know if I'm ready for that yet.
Destructoid the kid.
All right.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's it for us today. We will see you guys back here on Friday at 3:30. We love you.
We love you.